All right, thanks for coming, everybody. Am I on? My name is Jennifer Ciplet, C-I-P-L-E-T. I'm the Senior Communications Manager for Public Safety and Critical Response for the City of Boulder. And thank you all for coming out today. We are going to have a few comments by Boulder Police Chief Harold, followed by some comments from Deputy Chief Redford. And we have Director of Parks and Recreation, Allie Rhodes, with us today. We'll take a few questions following their comments, and then later this afternoon we will be sending out a press release for your information to follow up on everything that's been said here today. Thank you. I'll turn it over now to Chief Maris Harold.
Thanks, Jen. Thank you all for coming out on such short notice this afternoon. I'm here for a couple reasons. One, we had a really scary incident that happened right behind me this morning, approximately 6:30 a.m. Unfortunately, we had a male suspect who has now been arrested, repeatedly drive through this park, targeting people that were in the park in the early morning hours. I don't know how we escaped this morning's event without significant injuries and death to the people in this park this morning. I also want to really ask the community, if they were a witness to this incident, would you please contact the Boulder Police Department with any information that you have. Again, we are so lucky not to have significant injuries to multiple people. Deputy Chief Redford is going to run you through the chain of events that happened this morning. I also think it's very important for transparency to get as much information out to the community so they know what's going on in the community. So we are going to be very transparent what we know right now. I always like to caution everybody that this is all preliminary, and we're working with the District Attorney's Office to secure charges, the appropriate charges on this suspect. And I really do appreciate you getting this message out to the community. I am going to turn this over to Deputy Chief Redford, who will give you a play-by-play of the incident this morning. I'll be glad to stay here and answer as many questions as possible. Thank you for coming out.
Good afternoon. As the Chief said, my name is Steve Redford. I'm a Deputy Police Chief here at Boulder Police. I'm going to give you a little bit of information about what happened and then some information about the person that we arrested this morning. So this morning around 6:26 a.m., Boulder Communications received a call saying that there had been a truck in the park here behind me trying to run individuals over. At that time, the person told dispatch that this had happened 5 minutes ago and indicated that it was not in progress. About 6:30, we received another phone call saying the truck was back in the park, actively trying to run people over. Our officers responded emergent and were here within about a minute. When they got here, the truck was no longer in the park. Witnesses advised that the truck left in a south direction. Our numerous officers set up in the area. We had our drone team come out and we began to search for the vehicle. A short time later, the vehicle was found to the south of this location off of 15th and Arapahoe in a parking lot. The vehicle had sustained significant damage, which is consistent with the vehicle hitting some of the objects in the park behind me. At that point, our investigation into the owner of that vehicle commenced to try to figure out who was driving the truck today. While that was happening, officers continued their search in the area and located the owner of the vehicle nearby this location on foot. The subject was indeed the owner of the car and came to the police department to answer some questions. Through the great work of our patrol officers as well as detectives, probable cause was established to charge the owner of the vehicle, who was the driver at the time of this incident, with at a minimum 4 counts of attempted first-degree murder for intentionally trying to run over people in the park. What we did learn as well, from the time the incident in the park happened to the time he was taken, was contacted nearby, this person also broke into an animal hospital that is a block or two east of here. He injured himself in that process, and we will be exploring charges for that burglary as well. Of note, we're also investigating the charges of driving under the influence of narcotics, specifically methamphetamine, as well. So the initial 4 charges that he was arrested on today are the most serious, we believe, but we're exploring other charges as well. The name of the person that we arrested today is Bruce A. Alvey, which is A-L-V-E-Y. 4/26 of 79 is his date of birth. The information we received is that the person was, Mr. Alvey was living out of that truck that he used in this attack and did not have a permanent fixed address. That is kind of the brief rundown of how things transpired this morning, and we'll, I believe, take any questions at this time. Yes, ma'am. So it's a good question. We don't know his intentions other than the fact that he clearly came to this park for some reason or another. Some of the individuals that were in the park at the time we believe were unhoused, but we don't know if that was his specific intent or not. It's something we're still working on. It's also something we're still working on. We only learned of that burglary a short time ago. We're working on some evidence there that ties him to that location, but we're exploring what, if anything, might have been taken. I don't have his entire record. I know that we have at least 1 or 2 prior arrests in the city of Boulder. He was arrested and charged with the crime of felony menacing in 2021, and I don't know the outcome of that case. That was filed into Boulder District Court. Amazingly, there were not even, as far as I'm aware, minor injuries, and we had people jumping out of the way of the truck and things like that. So no one was struck with the vehicle, which there was more than one very close call where literally people were jumping out of the way, running for their lives, essentially.
Can I add one thing?
Go ahead, Chief.
That was a really good question, and the thing that's scary about this is that if people would have been sleeping in these sleeping bags this morning, there would have been mass casualties at this event. And that's why this is so scary to me, because the truck did run over these sleeping bags and so forth. And that's what's, we could have had significant injuries of that.
Do we want to mention the park closing, Chief?
Great question. We're still investigating that. We don't know if he has any close contact with the people in the park. I did fail to mention that we are going to close the park for approximately 2 weeks based on an emergency order. We may have structural damage from the vehicle striking some pillars and concrete poles within the park. Obviously, we have a lot of damage within the park that needs to be addressed as soon as possible so we don't have further injuries because of the damage caused by the vehicle. Yeah, we've had outreach workers out all day trying to get services to the people in the park, but the park will be closed for approximately 2 weeks.
So he was arrested today on the 4 counts of attempted first-degree murder. I believe by now he's been booked into the Boulder County Jail. That's part of our investigation. We do have video, and we're working through that. As always, it will likely prove helpful in this case.
All right. Thank you. If there's no other questions, we'll go ahead and send out that press release that I mentioned later on this afternoon. I do want to offer the opportunity to Allie Rose if there's anything you would like to add, or you feel like we got the information out that Parks and Rec would like to give. Okay. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your time and attention. We appreciate you being here.
Thanks, you guys.